Welcome to the TechTalk Forum on this great city with our host, Ivan Sutton.
Here we go. Okay, listen, thanks everybody for joining me today. This is Ivan. I'm Ivan Sutton, and we're doing Tech Talk today. Today's a little bit different because I went to the trade show yesterday in Mississauga at the Mississauga Convention Center for BizCon, right? And I was really evaluating booths, Catherine, looking around at trade show booths, and I was looking at mine and comparing mine with others, and I've noticed that people are starting to put lights on their having things that are lit up, which is nice. And we have a new display for my desktop, the tabletop one that's lit up, that's nice, right? And I thought, this is kind of interesting, but I'm looking to see what is the most effective trade show display. Like, why are we at the trade show? Why do you think we go to the trade show? Why are you going, Renee? Why do you go to the trade show?
Well, really, it's to show my company to the people that is around and try to get some business. This is the reality. This is the goal.
Right. So you're there because there are people in that room that have a pain point, right?
Yeah.
And you want them to talk to you so they recognize that you can solve their problem, right?
Exactly.
Right? Catherine, like when you go, you're there to build mind share, definitely around your brand, but to answer a pain point in somebody else's mind, right?
Yeah, and in my life, so that's how we met.
Yes.
Right. I was having a pain point, and even though I was a participant, a booth, I also was looking for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And it was very cool yesterday, by the way. I have to say, Michael looked like he was he had his suit on. It looked good. Michael was super dressed. Michael, come on now. You look like you were going to a wedding yesterday. You're all dolled up. It was great. He was actually working at the booth across from us. I think you were. You're behind there a lot. And I thought that was really super cool to see you there. I actually thought that it was your booth. I thought that because the banner that was there looks like it would be your banner.
So I had a pop-up banner behind me, and it was a shared booth. It was, I won't mention the entity, but what I don't know how you guys did this syncing with technology, because it was really neat because the other person in our booth was running pictures of events. And Ivan was running pictures of events, and I'm standing talking to somebody, and somebody says, "Hey, Mike, how come you're on the screen on both booths at the same time?" And I'm like, it's magic. I have to talk to Ivan about that technology on Tech Talk.
It's amazing. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Because you go to so many events, you're going to be in all the pictures, right?
So that's what happens.
Yeah.
It was an interesting event. And then one thing that I found interesting there was Heather had actually hired someone to go around and do videographing. And they were walking around. I'm not quite sure how this helps her business, but they were going around the whole trade show.
Yes.
And even just if somebody was there having an interaction with somebody, they would stand a little bit away, and they were filming those kind of interactions. And then near the end of the show, she came by and asked some questions, which she taped. Ivan did one just right that time also. And so it was really interesting to see how different people were using different technology. But the one that impressed me the most was how the person in my booth and Ivan, how they managed to sync that. Maybe they're gonna let me in on that secret one day, because that was kind of almost kind of creepy looking both ways and see it myself.
As soon as I figure out that secret, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's interesting because like you were saying, Michael, Heather, she had the team following her, Catherine, what a brilliant thing. Think about it. Think about it. There's nothing more high energy than a trade show when it's high energy, but you'll get those high energy moments several times throughout the day. So you have a team and they are acutely aware of what's going to look good on video. So, all of a sudden they start seeing an interaction, they start seeing a high energy moment, and they whip out the camera, they throw on the lights, and bang, they start shooting video of you. That's going to give you content for the next year, right?
Yeah.
Really, that's cool. So,
Especially if Heather, for Heather, especially if she created your banner or your tabletop or any of that, right?
yeah, yeah, and actually, that's exactly it, Catherine. She did the interview with me, and we did it in front of my booth for that exact reason, right? Because I mean, I just got the delivery of that new device, the backlit device, and then she did the banner, she did our collateral, she did the printing for the collateral, she did a few other things that were on the table that I thought were awesome. So
Yeah. And then if that person hasn't bought from her, she's got on tape, she can get in touch with them and say, it was really great.
yeah, for sure.
You step it up, right?
Yeah, what a winner. I might do that one as well. I think that's pretty cool. So I've decided today I'm gonna just talk about trade shows, trade show booths, etc. It's funny that Heather isn't here, but maybe she'll join us in a little bit. But trade shows are an interesting thing. There used to be a lot more of them. They used to be a lot more um people used to flood to them a lot, but I think maybe they're I don't know if they're as relevant now, but for the bigger companies, but definitely for small businesses, Catherine. I think that, for small solopreneurs, et cetera, it's an extension of networking for us. We get to go out in a networking environment, set up our booth, have people come to us. That they're interested in you if they come to your booth, right? At least some level of interest, because the ones that aren't, they just walk on by.
Uh-huh.
So trade shows are good, and I encourage any small business, if you have never been to like a BizCon and you've never been in a trade show environment where you set up a booth and have people come to you, definitely do it. I mean, what are your thoughts, Catherine?
It's funny. I was just saying to you before everybody showed up. The reason I wasn't able to be at yesterday's is that I was at a long standing clients, and it happened to be the company that was my first client from BizCon when it was in Hamilton at the convention center, which has got to be 9, 10 years ago.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so it's proof in the pudding for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's amazing. Sometimes you don't get the results, right? I mean, sometimes you go and you hand out a bunch of cards, and it takes a while to get a return on that effort and investment. But I think overall, when you just look at it over the years, even though you may spend out, $590 every time that you go and get a table, right? Which could sound, expensive to some. But I think that when you look at what you've spent out and what you've gained from it, not just in revenue, but in market share, in mind share, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay with it. Right, I'll keep spending that money, so it's good. Okay, so let's see here now. Yeah, so we all know what a trade show booth looks like. It doesn't always look like this, though, Catherine. This is when we say, one day when I grow up, I'm going to have a trade show booth that looks sexy. I'm going to have a nice booth. It's going to have places for people to stand and sit, and it's going to have shelves for me to put my stuff, and it's going to be well lit, and people are going to want to come in here, right? It's going to say Beaver Row on it. It'd be nice, right? And
Hey, Renee, I think you just got a buyout offer. Just make sure it's a six-figure one. I think he's going to buy you out.
Okay.
yeah, that's right. Michael, why are you telling people exactly what I'm planning here? Okay. So, but if you had the money right now, Catherine and Renee, if you had the money right now, let's say, I don't know, 10 grand to build out I'm not sure who this is trying to reach me, but anyway, try to build out a trade show display. How would you do it? Like, do you know what you want in your booth? If you could, like, have you thought about the components that would build out an amazing spot?
Oh, well, yeah, I have some ideas, but I think in my case, I will need some help from an expert. Maybe I will go to Heather and get recommendations from her. Because yes, I
Right.
can have some ideas, but maybe my ideas, since that I'm not an expert on that topic, so I may not be that effective. But
But
yes,
would you
definitely
not
I will
have
go for. Uh-huh.
would you not have some idea though, like in your mind conceptually, how you want people to see your brand display?
Yes, I want the people to interact with the brand in the booth.
Okay. All right, Catherine, what do you think?
I'd like something that has a large video, whether it be classes or, people just doing the skills to make it look like it is doing the first aid.
For
A
sure.
couple director chairs
Okay.
and maybe one shelf, right? But
Yeah.
just Heather is right on when she always tells you less is more,
Right.
right? If everything looks cluttered, nothing grabs their attention. But if there's just one or two items there to grab their attention, it'll draw them in. So
That's
yeah,
right.
that's really, I think, all I would have there is just the video, the chairs, and a couple items that I have.
Michael, what attracts you when you are at a show? What components in a booth attract you?
I'm going to be honest, I don't really look that much at the booth, save
Really?
for Heather's, because she's
Okay.
got the fish.
Yeah.
She's got something unique, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I guess all the other booths look more or less the same. They're either got a little thing on the desk or there's a pop-up banner or two behind. I mean, that's and there's nothing wrong with that. It gets your message out. Myself, and you mentioned uncluttered and all that. If money was absolutely no object,
Yeah. So.
I would want to have like a little lake and then have my booth floating out there in the middle.
Right.
And then, the theme is when you plan financially good, you can be out in the
Ah,
middle
Oh,
nice.
that
also,
will be great. Totally.
That's good. That's good.
right?
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
right.
have a little tanning bed there or something. I
That's
don't
right.
know.
Wow.
But
And
because
people will
it
be
would be
talking
out by
about it.
itself, it would take up that whole room, right?
Yeah, for
It would
sure.
take
For
up the whole
sure.
room. It would be uncluttered because of that.
And people will be saying, Catherine, have you seen the Michael Palme booth? Have you seen that? And
Out in
you
a
can tell
lake.
they have because they're all tan and they're all wet, right? So for sure.
Maybe I bring my dinghy and tie it up to the booth.
Yes, yes, yes. How about you, Paul? You've been to trade shows. What attracts you to go into a booth? Because there are a lot of booths that we walk by, right? So what attracts you?
Well, the thing that attracts me to some of these booths is the information that they're handing out, right?
Okay.
And the product or the information that I'm looking at. Okay? Like
Okay.
the screen is good, but the problem is when you're at these trade shows, you got like 3, 4, 500 people. They're trying to get in, and so okay?
So being able to have access to the information, so you're not waiting for people to move away from the front of a table, so you can get that's a good
Yeah.
point as well. Actually, I've seen that. I saw that yesterday, actually, where people couldn't get the information. So you want easy access from different points. That's a good point. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay,
And
so
that was actually something that when Heather asked the question, she said, what do people in booths do wrong? And although this was the first time I was like in the booth at that show, one of the things I've actually done over the years is watch everybody else.
mm,
And so I've learned from what others do. And one of the important things to do is don't sit in that chair behind the pillar. If you actually want to have people come, you got to stand up in front there beside your information, be ready to engage, say hello to people as they're walking by.
yeah,
I mean, yes, I go. Paul was right there. You go to booths where they have something that interests you, but having something to give to people that they can take with. And I made sure everything I gave out, my address and the business name and everything, how to contact me was on there.
So
Yeah.
the other thing is I would like to see is when you walk up to somebody at one of these booths, and you want specific information, they're willing to hand it to you. Because I went to one trade show downtown here, and this guy had one of these new vices that you could move around and change. And I asked him, "How much is that?" He says, "Well, let me go through the demonstration." He says, "No, I just want to know how much is it." So I had to
That's
stand there for 10 minutes while he demonstrated this thing.
before you got the
And
answer.
it's like,
Wow.
I just want to know how much it was.
Yeah.
It must have
That's
been expensive to his,
that's right.
and he had to show you its worth. That's why.
That's right. It's expensive. Yeah, for sure. So listen, I just want to go through the first video because we're setting the stage here. I want us to think about it. Like maybe you can't do it right now, right? Like myself, I'm not going to spend $10,000 on a booth, right? But there are components that you can start putting together modularly, and any component that you add to your presence, especially if you have a really good vision in mind of what you want. I don't know who it was. I think it was Michael or Catherine. You said less is more. Absolutely, less is more. So we need to. And I remember the first booth that we had, Catherine. We had promotional material on the table. We had shirts and mugs on the table, which were not available to anybody. Just all these things that just didn't make any sense that were on the table because we felt like we had to fill the space. Not smart. We've gotten rid of that and we're more lean, right, on what we present. So here we go. Yes, it's American. Yeah, so Catherine, I think it was you that said about the high chairs, etc. That one had low chairs, but I love the idea
Yeah.
that people can come into the booth. It's a welcoming space. You can sit with them and talk about it. Like if Paul comes by and he wants some information, sure, here's the information. Have a seat. Don't leave our booth. We're going to be doing a demo. Right? Here's the information first. But I think that creating that nice, warm, attractive, welcoming space is nice.
Yeah, I do too. That's because to me, I'm the person who wants to get to know you. Yeah, I need something with your contact information for sure. But I mean, I think you and I spoke 2, 3 trade shows before I finally said to my husband, okay, I'm gonna call these people and talk to them because I really feel comfortable talking to them. Kind of
For
like
sure.
Michael doing business with Mike as well.
For sure. For sure. For sure. Yeah. And it's funny. I have figured out the formula, I think, generally to pick up business from people. And this is weird. Okay. So I'm throwing out a secret here. Okay. And that is that when you meet people, you're chatting with them, etc., they'll remember you, right? But you're just like every other person that's doing what you do. But it's personality, first of all, personality. But then you have to come across as a partner in their future, and you have to make that future seem more exciting. Like you get it, you get their industry, and you get their future, and you paint a picture of that future that they go, "Yeah, we're aligned. I get you. Yeah, I can do." So don't lie. Just tell them, "Hey, this is what's possible, right? This is what's possible. You can build this, and it's going to do this for your customers and everything." So instead of being, and you don't do it in a this is the first meeting that I'm going to have with you. I'm going to pump all this on you right now, right? You just do it over time. The more impressions that they have of you, the more favorable they are towards you, the more they feel like they know you. Over that point, then you start saying, oh, by the way, you know what, Catherine, last time we met, you were talking about this. I was thinking about it. I couldn't get it off my mind. And I thought, yeah, you know what? You could actually do this. And sometimes Catherine will say, stop talking, Ivan. Stop, because you're going to get me, but if you paint the picture of the future that they could possibly have if they utilize your, then they'll go away. Don't sell it to them. Just say it. Get them excited about it, and then they'll go home and they'll think about it and they'll go, nope, that's not where I'm going, so therefore we're not doing it, which happens. Or they'll say, this is really where I want to go, and they'll do it, right? So it's definitely a winner, but you have to let the relationship age properly, like a fine wine, and then it'll last forever. Okay, so anyway, people invest in trade show booths because they serve as a critical high impact platform. We know that, right? We've seen the difference between our booth, our table with our stuff on it, and someone who has put some money into it, like Heather, where she has the shark. We remember that shark, right? We remember that shark. But imagine if she just had a table that had promotional material on it and the shark was on the printed promotional material. We wouldn't remember it as much as a backlit display, right? So this platform that you're building out will help you with things like lead generation, right? Building your brand, relationship management, because people, when they see that, they'll remember it. If it's high impact, they'll remember it. So every time that they see your logo in the future, they're going to go, okay, they have a relationship with that brand. So it does cost money. Do you know what a typical booth costs?
10 to 15.
Yeah, you can get
If you're
easily
doing your pour as well, right?
Yeah. You
Then you
can
have
definitely get up there.
set up.
So I won't get my lake for $15,000 in.
Not close. No, Michael, that lake is not going to be 15,000. Yeah. And it might take you more than a day to set up. You only get like 3 hours, right? So, okay, so let's go here and take a look. So we're going to talk about a few of these things, and this is kind of really where I wanted Heather to be here, but lead generation and sales, right? So again, your target, how do we know that it's our target audience?
Well, the conversation. You have to have the conversation with the people. First, you grab their attention. They go to visit your booth because they want to know more about your business. And then
That's right.
this is open the opportunity for you to talk to that people and do some assessment. And if they are in agreement, then you can follow up after the trade show. Am I right?
Yeah. So it reminds me of TELUS. I was at a show and TELUS had a booth there. And I really wanted to get some quotes on whether I should leave my current provider and move over to anybody else, right?
Mhm.
Anybody, right? So, but typically I would never go to a TELUS booth. Never. Because it just doesn't hit me to say, yeah, you should go and check out TELUS. I have a brand new phone. I have a service provider I'm happy with, so I'm not gonna. But here is a time where I'm thinking, nope, I want to look at the alternatives. So I'm going to TELUS and check out what they have. So I went in. So they know immediately if I'm walking up to the booth, there has to be something, unless I'm going to the booth, like happened yesterday a lot. I saw people go directly to booths, grab candy, and then walk away, right? So unless
Mhm.
you're candy shopping, like it's Halloween, right? That's one thing. But if they come to your booth for anything else other than the candy, then chances are they have an interest in what you're doing,
Mhm.
or an interest in the potential of needing what you have. So that's a good qualifier. Yeah. Now we're going to talk about what happens though when they do identify, they do come up to your booth. What do you need to have in that booth to yield as much of that connection as possible? So they're active buyers. Usually people are going to get in their car, they're going to drive to the convention center, and they're going to take time off work, and they're going to they're definitely looking for something potentially, or they're looking to get out of the office for a couple hours. But let's assume that they're seeking a solution, and so therefore they're going to come out and they're open to you presenting what you're offering if they come to your booth. And of course, you have the potential of making immediate sales. Now, have I made immediate sales at BizCon before? Yeah, it's not a cheap sale, but I've had it where people have gone in front of me, picked up their phone, and made the sale while I was there, which has been good, right? So I like that. That doesn't happen very often.
I think one thing there too is, you want to engage with people, but you don't want to engage with any given person for too long of a time,
Yes.
because
Oh,
you don't know who else is walking by who is also wanting to speak with you, and there could be a lost opportunity there.
yes.
So definitely, for sure, for sure.
And not only that, oh, I was just going to say, if you get tied up in a call or you just started a conversation that you can't say, oh, I got to move on. That's why I always like being beside you guys because we know a little bit about each other's business enough that we can engage somebody and then bring them over and introduce them as one of you open up, right? Or
sure.
vice versa. So that's kind of the nice that nobody ever gets dismissed at our
Right.
tables. Yeah.
And that's what I love about being, because they always set me next to you, and you definitely jump in there, and that's awesome. Anyway, so here we go. Lead generation and sales. Obviously, this is what we're there for, is lead generation and sales. You got your active buyers, you have the immediate sales. Did I already read that? Face-to-face relationship building, building trust. Catherine, it's weird how you layer trust, eh? You see people the first time, it's a good interaction, and then you see them the second time, and it's a great interaction because and it starts to layer that trust. By the time that you do your third, fourth, or fifth show, then those people are saying, "Oh, you know what? I wanted to approach you before, but and then you slip. But now I'm seeing you. I want to talk to you about this. Here, let's connect." And so that's happening more and more. It happened yesterday. It's happened in the past at other shows. So it's nice to have building trust, reconnecting with clients, people that you haven't seen. I've gotten old clients to become new clients again because I see them at a trade show. And you know what? The BizCon brand, it's a good feeling, right? It's a good feeling when you're there. So it's a great environment to be in. And of course, accelerating the funnel, face-to-face meetings can speed up long sales cycles, right? Because it's hard to get in front of them because you phone them up and you say, "Hey, Bob, can we get together?" Bob says, "I'm too busy right now, but call me in a couple of weeks." And that couple of weeks keeps getting pushed down the road. But then you see them at the trade show, and you're able to accelerate things because Bob has forgotten, Catherine, how great it is to be around you and such an amazing person that you are. And then when you're in their face and you're not a voice on the phone, they go, "Yeah, you know what? We should definitely meet and talk and get together and do whatever," right? So it's a great place to be. Trade shows are great. And if you happen to be a business that you're kind of struggling to make connections, I mean, you may be one of those that are fortunate to get business immediately, but you will definitely get leads that you can follow up with. If you do your proper follow-ups, you'll do well from the show. Is this your experience, Renee, like with follow-up?
Yeah, actually, I was not very good with the follow-ups, but I'm have a plan now. And yesterday
Sure.
was a good day actually for me. I got traffic on my boat, and I have like a 20 business cards that I'm going to start calling now. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and the good thing, those business cards that I have is from people that went to my booth and was talking to me. So I think it's a good
Right.
opportunity now.
For
So
for sure. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, I had about a dozen and a half, and there's two or three in there that, yeah, I'm gonna expedite a call to them,
Yeah, for
because there
sure.
was actually, I was actually surprised that, and one of the gentlemen came in later in the afternoon, and he's like, "Do you do life insurance?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he's like, I says, "Do you have any?" He's like, "No." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you're married, kids?" And he goes, "Yeah, all those things." And my wife and I have been talking. And I said, "Okay, I will," and he gave me two cards. He says, "Put one in the thing put the other one in your pocket.
Amazing.
It's kind of thing. So, like those are great leads to have. And so, if you know two or three of those actually converted into something,
Oh man.
then I might actually like consider a booth. It would have to make financial sense,
Yeah.
but definitely getting out in front of the booth, because at first I made the big mistake of standing behind the booth, and that is, as other people have said before, that's a barrier. You have to be out there and you have to be approachable.
Totally. Yeah.
And so, you got to be ready to stand on your feet for 3 hours
Yes.
and just yeah, it was I found it a good energy. I'm
Yeah.
curious how if anything's going to convert. But certainly the energy doing it was good.
Hmm.
And yeah, I was in a suit yesterday because when you're in a situation like that, representing a company, you got to put your best foot forward.
Michael, it was a weird energy for me. I had people that came to my booth, Catherine, precision bombing, coming over saying, okay, yeah, you do this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let's talk.
Wow.
Weird. Anyway,
Yeah, and
good.
I honestly didn't expect anyone to like engage in that way, because that's sort of one thing that I've kind of sort of been told that trade shows advisors, it's kind of hit and miss.
I find that,
Yeah, but that's because most I'll say for like banks and that, the two of them that are there are sitting behind the table, either talking to each other or looking at their phones.
Yes.
so listen, so brand visibility, we're going to stay on that a little bit, establishing presence. I find that there's no better way to gauge how people respond to your brand than a trade show. The way that you present yourself, I find that each time that I go to a trade show, I change a little bit because I tweak to say, okay, this is not the way the folks are responding, and it's a good eye opener because in your head you think this is the way things work and this is how people perceive you, but it's nice to see it in front of your face. So yeah, and then of course they're seeing you, so you're definitely going to be in their mind. I know that a lot of times right now, and I'm sure Michael, you get this a lot. That, oh yeah, I met you here. I remember, yeah, I met you over here. It's the same thing happening with BizCon. There are a lot of people that I bump into at the little engines or whatever. Oh yeah, I met you at BizCon in Mississauga. I met you at BizCon over here. It's very cool. So standing out, if you have a custom booth, you stand out because the majority of the people that are at BizCon have a table and a
Hmm.
banner. A
Hmm.
table, and they're getting sexy now because now they're also putting their laptop out there and putting a slideshow on or a TV, right? That's the customization that we're getting. But when you have a properly established, people look at you different. They just view you differently. Like I view Denmark differently because they actually do have that presence and it's a lot more welcoming. It's a lot brighter. All right. This display was carefully put together by ChatGPT, but I will say that a booth like this, though, in Ontario, would cost about 8,000 to 25,000, depending on customization, right? But I asked for a 10-foot by 10-foot space. What would fill a 10 by 10 space? And so this is what it created, and so that's what you're looking at for cost.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah, how
All
many
right.
how many people would need to be needed to assemble that?
Well, I will say on your comment there, there are actually, and I know this from my previous career there, that there are actually firms that do exactly what you said.
Exactly.
They ship your booth from wherever it's being stored to the trade show location. They come in on the day, they set it up, they take all your packing away, and then when the show's over, they come back in, they take your booth back down again, they pack it all up, and they ship it back to wherever you want. So there's actually companies that do precisely that thing. But if you're that solo person, you know what? You're probably not going to be driving around in a little Fiat. you're probably going to have a vehicle that you can put these kind of things in,
Minivan.
because that's part of your, if you have a business and you're regularly going to trade shows, you need something to be able to carry your
Yeah.
materials with you.
That is not going to take up a lot of space. It might take you a couple trips to the car and back, but it's not going to be difficult for you to snap together. And it's not very heavy. I actually watched Heather's daughter put together a tall, it wasn't as wide as this, but it was as tall as this, and it was lit. And she put it together herself, and she's, teenager, and she put it together herself. She set it up herself. So it's pretty straightforward to do. The Solvix table there, that table is it's flat. You just pop that up and put your wrapping around it. So I think
Yep.
the thing that would be the most difficult would probably to carry from the car to the place would maybe the table.
The chairs.
The table and the chairs.
Speaking of Heather's booth, and size of vehicles, Paul, Heather drives a little Subaru Outback.
Oh yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yeah.
Every
That's good.
that whole huge
my
boost that
gosh.
she has fits in her little Subaru Outback.
That's right.
So these
Everything.
things are very,
Wow.
very compact, right?
Yeah. That's right. It all fits in that Outback.
She doesn't have a big pickup or a van. It's a pretty compact vehicle, actually.
Yeah. And that's how big do you think that is, Michael, the Shark?
You know what? It's been a while.
It's got to be 8
I
feet.
didn't look at it yesterday, but once again, things probably fold up. The one thing that I saw at the booth yesterday, though, that was a little hilarious, was there are people who had these displays where they like had an overhead, and there was this folding rack thing. And I was watching these two guys trying to put this together at the end of the row we were in, and they were there a good half hour just trying to get it. And there was two of them, and you could tell they were struggling. They were struggling real bad, just
Yeah.
like which piece goes where and kind of stuff. And it's like I think the companies that make this stuff are generally really good at making sure things are simplified, because these are items that have to be easy and to put up and take down, and they have to use a very low amount of brain cells, because
Absolutely.
when you're in a trade show like that and you're trying to set something up and you got 15-20 minutes, whatever, it's just got to be done. You don't have time to have something that's complex and complicated. It has to like snap up, snap down. It's got to be obvious where everything kind of goes.
For sure. I just wanted to go through some of the other things that you can get, like these little tables. A little table like this is approximately, this is Canadian. It works out to be about $208 for a table like this. And that includes your logo, right? Because and this is have you ever touched the material, Catherine, of these things? It's very, very soft material. So you can get that done. Then they have these kiosks, and I really love these. I mean, if you have the money, getting a nice kiosk where you have imagery that people can look at, and also they can interact with it. So you can actually create it so that it will function where they can click on stuff and get information about your services and products or whatever. I think that this is a super thing that you can get. They start at about $1,400. They can get pretty expensive, but you'll stand out, that's for sure, right? And then the other thing is, if I were going to do this, I wouldn't put this in my booth. I would ask for a secure area that I can put it where people can interact with it somewhere else on the floor, so then it would be a separate presence that will promote me and my products, and people can interact with it elsewhere. All right, and then of course a nice brochure holder if you have $506, Catherine, where you could put, it's a backlit display here, so that it'll stand out to people and they can go and get your flyers or your brochures. I love this, Catherine. Look at this. And this is why I asked. Think about the last trade show that you attended. Mine was yesterday. Would a display like this catch your eye? Yes, it would catch my eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it worth 700? Like, if you're going to be attending, like if I was back, Catherine, when I first met you, when I went to the first trade show, if I knew that I was going to be going to trade shows as often as I'm going now, I would definitely get something like this, because this is sexy. Very, very easy to snap together. It comes in a small little container and it snaps together, and then you put the draping over it, and that's it.
Yeah, I think what happened to us is unfortunately with the pandemic in the middle, we never knew if this was going to take off again.
Right, right.
Right?
That's true. That's
So
true.
no investments were made because during the pandemic, and then it's like, well, that lasted a good close to 3 years for trade shows. Like
Yeah, yeah.
trade shows came back, but not like they were.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yep. And then, of course, I don't know if you've ever seen this. I was at a trade show there that somebody had a display like this that was interactive. Very cool, especially if you have products that you're selling and you don't have all your products with you and people want to order. They can go in here and they can they can interact with your products and see what else you have. So it's quite cool. And actually, I have a small video of it right now.
I have to tell you about the S-Design interactive touchscreen kiosk. This 4K desk computer is making waves, revolutionizing the way your business can operate. With a grade A LED screen and a sleek, efficient design, this piece of hardware allows you and your team to easily navigate through a variety of different projects and applications, boosting productivity. It's also great for engaging with your clients, working as an interactive media display to show your digital advertising.
So there you go. All right.
They have that at Canadian Tire.
Yes.
You do a product search.
Yeah. They do actually. You're right. Yeah. So you can get it at Canadian Tire. You can get it in there's so many different places. I think that one there. So I didn't get a price on that one, but
Okay.
I know that you can get it from. This is going to sound terrible to say, but I found it on Alibaba for pretty cheap. So I don't know if it's going to show up and it's only this big, Catherine. I don't know, but it looked pretty neat. But I wanted to do a contrast here on the last slide uh, from a typical booth, right? Which kind of looked like my booth yesterday, right? That's the way it is. I have I've got, except there's a bowl of candy that was there that people kept taking. My banner, my table, with a tablecloth, me standing behind it. In the new one, he's still standing behind it, right? But it looks much more attractive. It just punches out because it gives a lot more information. I would have lost the big table in the front and left that to be open and just had a small table at the side to hold the material on it and just have it more welcoming, like Heather would say. But it is interesting when this is how your booth typically is. What would it take to go from the first picture to the second picture? And I say incrementally build it out.
Some of that's the colors. Like look at the left one, right? You're using blue on white, where on the other one he's using white on blue. Well, if you'd have used blue on white there, even that table booth would have looked more appealing than what he has there. So it's not really an apple to an apple.
Which is funny because the table behind him looks like it has the blue tablecloth. So
Yeah.
why is that's true. I'm going to ask ChatGPT what happened there. But the point here is though, when you think about it, let's say that it was the opposite. It was blue tablecloth, blue banner with white accents. I still think that there's something about the TV, the big screen there. There's something about the lighting that will punch that out. Because don't forget, if that was a blue tablecloth, then he would be the same as every other person in that aisle, right? Everybody's tablecloth looks the same. Everybody's presence looks the same. It's only what the banner looks like, what the material is on the desktop, where then you have a break where there's no table in front, like the standard, and you have a booth that's more welcoming. I think that really does stand out. So, because it's not just your booth alone, it's your booth plus everybody else's booth. Do you look like everybody else or do you stand out? That's the question. That's, I think, the question, Catherine. Do you look like everybody else or do you stand out? So, would it matter? Here's the question. Would it matter? Like the people are coming to your booth anyway, right? They're coming to your booth anyway.
Mhm.
And do you think that that's going to make a difference?
It could.
I think yes, it will be more attractive. Maybe you can get more people.
My opinion is it's just like a house. You don't put quartz countertops in a lower income
Oh,
home, right? You stay
that's
with
right.
and yep, very
Look
nice.
good. Yeah.
Um, although BizCon is a really reputable convention expo, no one is expecting $10,000.
No, they're not. That's right.
They're just looking for services. And I'm kind of thinking if you've got a $10,000 booth and Renee doesn't, and I like both your personalities, I'm gonna go with Renee because he ain't gonna pass that $10,000 off on my fees, right?
The booth, yeah, but you have to. It's like Michael. What lure do you use to catch the right fish, right? And I
Yeah.
think that sometimes we just think that if we just threw corn in there that we're going to catch fish, but sometimes corn doesn't work. And we get corn when we buy our table, we get corn, right? But if we want specific people, we need to know specifically how to attract those people. Maybe the booth might enhance it.
And that actually brings me back to the focal point, right? Like in what I'm doing, there's not product there.
Right.
So if I make myself the focal point and make myself approachable, then people will come. If you're displaying a product, if that's the focal point, then the product has to jump, right? There has to be something there on that product shelf, even if it's not your main thing. Maybe it's just some item that people look at on the shelf and everything else is around it. They go, wow, look at that. And so they go over to look at that. And while they're looking at that, they look at the product, right?
For sure. Yeah.
So it all really depends on what is the booth trying to do? What's the center of attention of that booth?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
I think you're getting those kind of buyers there. You're not getting the caviar or the roe fish at a BizCon,
okay.
right? Don't get
You're
me wrong.
not.
I mean, hey, I'm not a caviar fish either. If I'm doing one at the convention center in Hamilton or Toronto or at the TD Center, then yes, I can't show up with a tablecloth and a stand.
Like a bridal show or one of those.
Yeah, one of those,
You're gonna,
right? Because you're sending out the right bait and the right clients are coming in.
right. Okay, so I'm going to go around, and this is the last thing I'm going to ask. So, if you are going to a trade show and you're going to be an exhibitor at a trade show, what is the most important thing? I'm going to start with Paul.
Well, the information and the personality, right? And the quickness that they can give you the information that of their product and information or whatever. That's what I want. Within a 5 minutes. Okay? Get in. Okay? Hand you the information, give you the presentation, and get you going.
Okay. All right. Okay. That sounds awesome. Okay, Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta jump in a minute. Show up ready. Show up ready. That means
what does it mean?
You're ready to greet the people. You're in the right mindset. You're dressed to project the image you want to project. Have the information ready that you want to give to people so they can take something with them. Yeah, just be ready.
Okay. Awesome. Renee.
In your person and also your message. Because you can have a very good booth, but if you are not selling how to resolve the problem, then nobody's going to stop there. Right?
That's right. So yeah, you got to remember why you're there. Solve the problem. Go ahead, Catherine.
Bye, Michael.
Bye bye.
See you Monday.
Kimberly?
Yeah, it's I still think trade shows are about me connecting. That's why when I dress very like informal.
Approachable. Mhm.
Yeah, it's not about being in that business suit for me. For what I do, I want people to be able to be comfortable around me, and that's what I want to project. So that's why I show up in jeans and running shoes and my work shirt.
And Catherine, that's because you also connect with those people best, right? You're gonna have a better
Yeah.
relationship and interaction. That's brilliant. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining me today for Tech Talk, and I'll see you Monday morning for morning coffee.
Yeah.
All right, take care. Have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.